So we supercharged this car about 2 years ago. So look how clean this thing is. This is a stock as they come. This is a Jackson Racing supercharger with a 10-pound pulley on it, notorious for having really high intake air temperatures. Watch this number right here. He's doing one of our supercharger intercooler packages, as well as the Billet S Tube, the LHT Throttle Body, and the LHT Griptec Pulleys. One thing to note with our S Tube and Throttle Body, it takes all of that really tight area there and smooths it out. It's going to bring that throttle body out of that hole. It's going to eliminate this bracket right here. The throttle body bracket is all self-contained. It's a smoother transition. Not only does it make power, it just fits much, much nicer. There is a list and there is additional parts. So this is a muffler he wants to install and attach to the mid-Mugen exhaust that he has. And then we have some OEM parts right here.
The Type R master cylinder.
The Type R master cylinder right there. The Griptec pulley options that we have are for a B16 or ITR crank pulley. That's the smallest of the crank pulleys, but it's also balanced. We're soon going to be coming out with a different upper pulley if you have either a GSR crank pulley or you're running a B16, which might be a little higher on boost. Remember, on a supercharged Jackson Racing car, boost is restriction in the intake manifold. The better the engine breathes, the lower the boost. Hence why if you do a better flowing head, cams, header, intake and such, the boost will actually go down, the power will go up. We're also replacing the timing belt, water pump and tensioner at the same time. He's also supplied a ITR master cylinder, which will make the brakes much more powerful and more positive feel. I do want to say a big thank you for the gift cards, Brian. It truly is appreciated. Thank you so much. For the intercooler, we're using a 50-50 mix of water and coolant. So he supplied us with a JDM header and a factory catalytic converter. So he wants to change that mid-pipe too. He supplied us with a Mugen mid-pipe. When you look at it side by side, it looks very similar, but the front part before the resonator is actually slightly smaller than the OEM, but it does have a factory cat, and the flanges are 2.5 inch, which is the largest size, same size as like an S2000. The Japanese have that 2.5 inch. The US ones typically have a 2 inch. You'll see right here. The factory one has a 2 inch and the other one has a 2.5. So he supplied us two exhaust axle backs too. He supplied a Grady one and a Mugen one. He wants to modify them so they can both fit and he can change when he needs to. So the LHT Intercooler kit is basically a water to air design. It pumps water around the system through the heat exchanger and through the manifold. It pulls the temperature out that way, similar to the radiator. And obviously pulls the temperature out there. Once that system is bled and double checked, then you can put the cap on. It looks pretty stock back there. You can tell there's something going on, but it isn't too obnoxious, not quite as much as a front mount intercooler. So real quick, I want to take you back 2 years when we first did this car, and we were running all kinds of pulley and belt issues because he had an aftermarket kit. And then we decided to do a back-to-back run and drop the airbox just to see if there was any gains from removing the airbox, to see if it actually picked up any power. You're going to see an old friend in this video too. All right, check it out. Like I say, this might be a candidate for an LHT intercooler and a better intake and maybe a header. A few other things will make some power on this. But let's get basically an idea on the intake. $200 on the dot.
Yeah, looks like you're flat right at 200.
So lifting that lid made 3 horsepower. So the last time Bruce was here, this happened. Yeah, that happened. So 200, 141, let's just see a back-to-back runs. It's still hot as all. I mean, it made a little bit of power. I mean, it's 3 horsepower. So this was a big part of my life back in 98, 99, 2000. These are all supercharger belts that we have trashed on this car. This is one that completely shredded. This is an absolute game changer for the Jackson Supercharger. These are pulleys we've had made by Griptec. Not only does it have the Griptec coating and their unique traction, so you don't run into belt issues. The belt alignment is perfect. And also what we've done is design this to give the blower the maximum speed to give you the most power. Now this combination, again, it has to be a B16 ITR crank pulley for this to work. It's going to give it the maximum RPM the blower can take safely, up to 8,800 RPMs. B16s, they tend to run a little bit higher boost. We're going to offer a different pulley for the B16s. And also, if you're going to run a GSR crank pulley, you'll be able to use the same pulley for the blower as you would on the B16s. It's going to basically be a larger pulley, so it slows the blower down. I designed my own pulley system back in the day. I spent a lot of money, had Dayco specially built belts. I went through different belts. I actually designed a 5-rib system. I spent a fortune. I almost went broke doing this just because I wanted a better system. This is it. You just saw that car. That had all kinds of belt issues. It had different brackets. We went through a lot of time trying to go through his stuff. In the end, we put the factory Jackson Racing stuff back on, but the pulleys were still an issue. This is a game changer. We have them in the store. They are the pair right here. This is the blower pulley. This is the alternator pulley. It is a double pulley. It is a stepper. Now, this is the factory Jackson bracket. He has the reproduction bracket. We did a little digging around. It's by a company called 1320. There are some companies reproducing bits and pieces. It's got cheap hardware, bolts break, the shear off. I mean, the pulleys look to be pretty good, but long story, we've had the Supercharger on and off 3 times. So might have to change the policy on installing used Superchargers. I've always shied away from it. Now I think I'm gonna run away from it. But yeah, belts, you can't really tell, but I burnt that finger bad on a pulley because I touched it and this belt stuck on there and it stuck to it and it got hot. Anyway, so it's going to require some tuning. We're going to put it on the dyno and do some back-to-back runs to show you what kind of power we can get. So pretty much the same boost. We picked up 39 wheel horsepower. And again, this is a bone stock factory B16 running 93 octane. We're not pushing this motor. Plus factory ITR header and factory cat. There's obviously another 20 horsepower to be made there. But this is a true daily driver. And look at the intake temps. Back-to-back runs over and over and over. 120, 122 was the highest we saw on the dyno. Not only do we have the Griptec pulleys in the LHT store for your Jackson Racing Supercharger, we have the Billet S Tube, which flows a whole lot more than the factory one, gives better throttle body placement, better cable placement. We also have the LHT 70mm throttle body with bracket and cable. Fits with our S Tube or factory S Tube, and it fits with the LHT Intercooler perfectly. All right, back to our little iconic tuning road. A lot of people have said, hey, when I visit LHT, I come down this road and I feel like I've seen it before. Which you have. We use this little side road just to kind of test cars. We don't do anything too crazy down here. It's just the fact there's not a lot of traffic. It's quiet. If something is happening with a car, we can usually hear it and identify it. And it gives us time to make sure the brakes work, steering doesn't have any funny clicks to it, clutch operates properly, and the car feels good.
I have it up there twice.
Staying pretty consistent, isn't it?
Oh yeah.